Good day, everyone. I am Mondre Jansen Sacopaso from St. Ignatius class. We are about to tackle and discuss all the topics presented in general physics. So this is the first example of scientific notation. So 3.2 times 10 raised to 3. So first, we must move the decimal point to the right since it was positive. So this is now the final answer. So moving on to the second example, which is 7.5 times 10 raised to 4. So 7.5, simply it is negative. So we move to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the final answer will be 00075. So 33,000 plus 20,000, 53,000. And this is your decimal point, and you move the decimal point until you have only one number to the left. So this will be 5.3 times 10. Then count how many times you have moved the number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this will be the final answer. So this is the first example of converting units. So convert 35 kilometers to meters and expressing in scientific notation. So first is, given that 1 kilometer is equivalent of 1,000 meters. So 35 kilometers times 1,000 over 1 kilometer. And then simply cancel kilometer. Then 35 times 1,000 meters is equal to 35,000. And by moving the decimal point, then 3.5 times 10, then by counting the decimal point, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will be the final answer. So this is the second example. A bodybuilder can lift 350 pounds. How many kilogram is that? So consider the conversion factor, which is 1 kilogram is equivalent to 2.2 pounds. The first step will be writing down the quantity, which is 350 pounds. And then we multiply this into a fraction. 1 kilogram over 2.2 pounds. And then we just simply cancel pounds. And in this case, we just divide 350 to 2.2, and it will become 159.09 kilogram or 159. So this will be the final answer. This is the third example. A certain truck has a mass of 250 kilogram. How many tons is that? So this will be a two-step problem. So consider the conversion factor again. 1 kilogram is equivalent to 2.2 pounds. And 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. So we write down again the quantity of the problem, 2,550 kilogram, and then we multiply this into fraction. So first, 2.2 pounds over 1 kilogram. In this, we cancel kilogram. And then, we multiply the remaining numbers, which is 2,550 times 2.2 pounds. And the answer will be 5,610 pounds. So we're not done yet. We write down again the quantity that we get, 5,610 pounds, and then 1 ton over 2,000 pounds, and cancel pounds, and in this we now able to divide 5,610 divided by 2,000, and we will get 2.805 tons. So this will be the final answer. So moving on to variance. This is my first example. So the numbers on a dice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Find the mean, variance, and standard deviation. So first, you need to add all the numbers into the x. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 will be 21. And then you divide how many of them. So they are 6. So 21 divided by 6 is 3.5. And by using your scientific calculator, you can now able to minus them. So we just write 3.5. So 1 minus 3.5, negative 2.5. 2 minus 3.5 is 1, negative 1.5. 3 minus 3.5 is negative 0.5. 4 minus 3.5 is 0.5. 5 minus 3.5 is 1.5. Then 6 minus 3.5 is 2.5. In this case, you are now able to square all of this. So this will now be the answers. And then after that, you add all of this, and then you will get 17.5 by using your scientific calculator. And then you divide again of how many of them. So they are again 6. So you divide into 6, and then it will become 2.916, and this will now be your answer in variance. The last step in standard deviation. So you just square root 2.916 as your variance, and the answer will be 1.7076. So this is now the final answer. The next example of variance. So the number of points that shots by a basketball player in each quarter. So first quarter is 10 points, second quarter 8 points, third 2 points, fourth 7 points. Then same process, add all the x values and divide it with how many of them. So 10 plus 8 plus 2 plus 7 will be 27, and divided by 4 will be 6.75. So this is now your mean, 6.75. And then you're now able to subtract the mean and this one, and it will become 3.25. 8 minus 6.75, 1.25. 2 minus 6.75, negative 4.75. 7 minus 6.75, 0.25. And then you're now able to square this. And you are now able to get this by using your scientific calculator. And then you add all of this and it will become 34.75. And going on to your variance, you just divide it 34.75 and number of points, which is 4, and will become 8.6875. And this is now your variance. And in standard deviation, you just simply square root the variance, which is 8.6875, and the answer will be 2.947456531. This is now the final answer. Next example, the scores of 5 contestants in the Bible quiz: 25, 28, 19, 29, 22. Finding the mean, variance, and standard deviation. So same process again. Add all the numbers or scores. 25 plus 28 plus 19 plus 29 plus 22 is 123 divided by the number of all the scores, which is 5. So it will become 24.6. So this is now your mean, 24.6, and then you just subtract the mean and the number of scores. So 25 minus 24, 0.4, 28 minus 24.6. So this is now the answers after you squared all of these. So again, you add all of these, and by using your scientific calculator, you will get 69.2. And going to the variance, 69.2, and the number of the scores, which is 5, and 69.2 divided by 5 is 13.84. And then in standard deviation, square root the variance, and the answer will be 3.720215048. So this is now the final answer. So this is the first example of parallelogram. Two forces A and B are acting on an object. A is 4.0 n directed north, and B is 7.0 n 50 degrees north of east. Find the resultant force acting on the object using the parallelogram method. So the scale is 0.5 centimeter is equal to 1 n. So the given will be force A 4.0 n north, force B will be 7.0 n 50 degrees north of east. So in this we will find the resultant force. So we're done now. So this is the graphical representation of parallelogram method. So this is force A, this is force B, this is the resultant force, and which, as you can see, R is 10.3 and it is 65 degrees north of east. So this is the next example of parallelogram method. A ball is thrown directed at 3.0 n north and pass the ball 5.0 n 40 degrees north of west. Find the resultant force using parallelogram method. So the scale that we'll be using is 1 centimeter is equal to 1 n. So given A is equal to 2.0 n north, B is 5.0 n 30 degrees north of west. So we need to find the resultant force once again. So this is now our graph in the second example. So this is force A, force B, and this is our resultant force. As you can see, it is 1 centimeter scale, and R is 6.4 centimeter, 45 degrees north of west. Moving on to the last example of parallelogram method, a boat sails 5.0 n north and going at the island. It directed at 4.0 n, 70 degrees north of east. Find the resultant force using again the parallelogram method. So the scale will be 0.5 centimeter is equal to 1 n. So given A is equal to 5.0 n north and B 4.0 n 70 degrees north of east. So we're done now in the last example of our parallelogram method. So this is the graphical representation. So this is 70 degrees. This is our force A, force B. Our resultant and the scale that we use is 0.5 centimeter, and our resultant force is 9.3. It is 80 degrees north of east. So moving on to polygon method. So this is my first example. So a car turned 6.0 kilometer east and 7 kilometers south and finally turned 3 kilometer west. How far are you now from the starting point and in what direction? So this is the graphical representation of polygon method. So as you can see, A is directed to east, B is to south, and then C is to west. And this is the resultant. This is our resultant, and it is 68 degrees. So R is equal to 7 kilometer. So example number 2 of polygon method. You ride a bike going into the market, turning 6.0 m south, then the highway 10.0 meter west and 3.0 m north of east. Finally, 3.0 m east. Express your answer in polygon method. So this is now our final answer and our graphical representation. So this is our A directed to south, our B is directed to west, our C is directed to north of east, and our D is directed to east. So this is our R, which is 4.0 meters. So it is 38 degrees. So moving on to the last example of polygon method. So you climb a mountain directed at 5.0 meters north, then 8.0 m east, and you reach the mountain at 3.0 m southwest. Express it in polygon method. So this is now our polygon method or the graphical representation, and this is our A, which is 5.0 m directed at north, and B directed to the east, and C directed to southwest, and this is 20 degrees. And this is our resultant, which is 5.0 m. So this is my example of triangle method, or also known as tip-to-tail method. So the horse runs 50 meter east and 50 meter north. Determine the horse resultant vector. So this is our scale. 10 meters is equal to 1 cm. So in this, we multiply 50 meter to our scale. Then simply cancel meters, and then we divide 50 to 10, and it will become 5 centimeter. And this is now our graph. This is our force A, this is our force B, and this is our resultant. And it is, by using your roller, it is measured 7.1 centimeters, and its degree is 45 degrees. And moving on to the last part, which is 7.1 centimeters, and we'll multiply again to the scale, which is 10 meters over 1 centimeter. Cancel centimeter, then multiply 7.1 times 10, and it will become 71 meters, and it is 45 degrees north of east. Component method. I walk 17.0 meters east to buy food, and 12.0 meters 40 degrees north of west going to the beach. Find the resultant displacement. So this is the given. A is 17.0 meters east, B is 12.0 meter 40 degrees north of west. So in getting the horizontal component, our formula will be Vx is equal to V cos, and then since it is east, it will become 17.0 meters, as it is the x-axis. So in our Bx, it will become negative since it is north of west quadrant 2. So negative 12.0 meters cosine 40 degrees. So in your calculator, you will get negative 9.19. And then simply add 17.0 meters to negative 9.19, and we will get 7.81. And this will be our horizontal component. Moving on to vertical, Vy is equal to V sine, and then our Ay will be 0 since it is at the y-axis, and then our By will be negative 12.0 m since it is at the negative again. Sine 40 degrees, and we will get negative 0.7.71 in our scientific calculator, and this will be the answer, negative 7.71. And getting the resultant, we will use the Pythagorean theorem formula, and by distributing the dx and dy, and then it is squared, and then we add, and lastly we square root, and this will become the final answer or the resultant. And lastly, in getting this angle or sum, we use the tangent, which is in our scientific calculator, we type tan, and our dy, which is negative 7.71 over 7.81, and we will get negative 44.63083 127 in our calculator. So this is now the final answer.